I need to tell you something I've never said out loud before. Not to my therapist, not to my best friend, definitely not to him. For 3 years, I was the woman he chose, but I was never the woman he loved. And the worst part? I knew. From the very beginning, I knew. It started on a Tuesday. Isn't that pathetic? The kind of love story that ruins you always starts on the most ordinary day. I met Marcus at a work conference in Denver. He was a keynote speaker. I was networking for my startup. When he came up to me at the hotel bar afterward, I felt it immediately. That electric thing everyone talks about but nobody can explain. We talked for 4 hours straight. About everything. Our childhoods, our fears, the versions of ourselves we'd left behind. He told me he'd just gotten out of a 7-year relationship. She was his college sweetheart. They'd broken up 3 months ago. "Are you over her?" I asked. Because I'm not stupid. Because I've been the rebound before. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "I wouldn't be here if I wasn't." That should have been my first clue. The way he answered too quickly. The way he didn't even pause to think about it. But I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. We started dating long distance, Boston to San Francisco. Red-eye flights and FaceTime calls and the kind of texts that make your heart race at 2 a.m. Within 6 months, he asked me to move in with him. Within 8 months, I said yes. I packed up my entire life. My apartment, my routines, my friends who warned me it was too fast. I moved across the country for a man who looked at me like I was the only thing that mattered. Except I wasn't. The first time I found out about Claire was 2 weeks after I moved in. We were at his apartment, our apartment now, and I was unpacking the last of my boxes when I found it. A photo album tucked behind some old textbooks on his bookshelf. I know I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. Every page was her. Claire at graduation, Claire at the beach, Claire laughing at a restaurant, her hand on his cheek, Claire and Marcus at what looked like someone's wedding, dancing like they were the only 2 people in the world. The last photo was dated 4 months ago, 1 month after they supposedly broke up. I felt sick, but I didn't say anything. I shoved the album back where I found it and pretended I never saw it. Because here's the thing, nobody tells you about loving someone who's not over their ex. You become a detective, and you hate yourself for it. I started noticing things. The way his phone was always face down, the way he'd step into the other room to take certain calls, the way he'd mention her name casually, like she was just an old friend, but his voice would change, soften, when he said it. Claire would have loved this restaurant. Claire used to make this dish all the time. Oh, that reminds me of something Claire said once. And every time I'd smile and nod like it didn't feel like a knife twisting in my chest. I told myself it was normal. That you can't just erase 7 years of history. That loving someone's past doesn't mean you don't love their present. But then came the Instagram. He still followed her. She still followed him. And late at night, when he thought I was asleep, I'd see the glow of his phone under the covers. I'd pretend to stir, and he'd quickly lock the screen, kiss my forehead, and whisper, "Go back to sleep, baby." I checked his Instagram once while he was in the shower. I'm not proud of it. But I needed to know. Her latest post was a sunset photo with the caption, "Missing the one person who understood my silence." It had been posted 20 minutes ago. It had 1 like. From Marcus. For the next year, I built my life around the ghost of Claire. I dyed my hair darker because hers was blonde. I learned to cook the meals she used to make because I thought, maybe if I became more like her, he'd love me the way he loved her. I even started running, something I've always hated, because she was a marathon runner, and he'd mentioned once how much he admired that about her. I became a performance artist of my own relationship, playing the role of the woman he wanted while slowly disappearing into someone I didn't recognize. We had good days. God, we had beautiful days. Days where he'd look at me with so much warmth I'd think, this is it. This is real. I was wrong about everything. But then the bad days would come. The days where he'd be distant and distracted. The days where he'd say her name in his sleep. The day I saw them together. I was grabbing coffee downtown when I spotted them through the window of a cafe. Just the 2 of them. She was crying. He was holding her hand across the table. I stood there on the sidewalk for 10 minutes, frozen, watching my boyfriend comfort the woman he claimed to be over. When he came home that night, I asked where he'd been. Just running errands, he said. Why? I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. I wanted to ask him why he was lying to my face. Instead, I said, no reason. Just missed you. Because that's what you do when you're terrified of the truth. You swallow it. You smile. You pretend. The breaking point came on our 3rd anniversary. Marcus planned this big romantic dinner. Reservations at the nicest restaurant in the city. Flowers, the works. He even gave me a necklace, a delicate gold chain with a small pendant. I love you, he said, looking into my eyes. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. And for a moment, I believed him. For one beautiful, fragile moment, I let myself believe that I had won, that I was enough. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His face changed. I'm sorry, he said. I have to take this. He stepped outside. And I sat there, alone at our anniversary dinner, staring at the necklace around my neck. When he came back 15 minutes later, his eyes were red. Claire's mom died, he said quietly. I need to go. She needs me. And there it was. The truth I'd been running from for 3 years, spelled out in 5 words. She needs me. Not, I should check on her. Not, I feel obligated. She needs me. Present tense. Like he'd been waiting for her to need him all along. Go, I said, because what else could I say? He kissed my forehead and left. And I sat there in that restaurant, surrounded by couples celebrating their love, wearing a necklace from a man who was rushing to hold someone else while she grieved. I paid the bill. I went home. I took off the necklace. And I finally asked myself the question I should have asked 3 years ago. Why am I doing this to myself? He came back 2 days later. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He just crawled into bed next to me and fell asleep. I lay there in the dark, listening to him breathe, and I realized something that broke me and freed me at the same time. He didn't choose me. He settled for me. I was the safe choice, the easy choice, the woman who would never ask too much or expect too much or demand that he actually let go of his past. Claire was the love of his life. I was the woman who helped him survive losing her. And I let it happen. I participated in my own heartbreak. I saw every red flag, every sign, every moment where he showed me exactly who he was, and I chose to stay anyway, because I thought love was supposed to be hard. I thought fighting for someone meant accepting their half-hearted effort and calling it devotion. But real love isn't a battle. It's not convincing someone to choose you. It's not shrinking yourself to fit into the space someone else left behind. Real love is being someone's first choice. Not their backup plan, not their safety net. Their first choice. And I was never his. I moved out 3 weeks later. I didn't make a big dramatic exit. I didn't scream or cry or demand an explanation I already knew. I just packed my things while he was at work and left a note on the kitchen counter. I hope you find the courage to love her the way you were too afraid to love me. And I hope I find the courage to love myself enough to never accept less than I deserve again. He called 37 times that day. I didn't answer. He texted me for months. Apologies, explanations, promises to change. He even showed up at my new apartment once, drunk and crying, begging me to give him another chance. I love you, he said, standing in my doorway. I do love you. And maybe he did, in his own broken, half-hearted way. But it wasn't enough. I believe you, I told him. But I deserve someone who loves me more than he misses someone else. I closed the door, and I finally started healing. That was 2 years ago. I'm different now, stronger, more myself than I've been in years. I moved back to Boston. I rebuilt my startup. I reconnected with the friends I'd abandoned. I dated a little. It's scary, putting yourself out there after something like that. There's this voice in your head that whispers, "What if I'm not enough again?" But I'm learning to silence it. I'm learning that my worth isn't determined by whether someone else can see it. Last month, I heard through mutual friends that Marcus and Claire got back together. I waited for the jealousy, the anger, the sting of rejection. But it didn't come. Instead, I felt something I didn't expect. Relief. Relief that I'm not her. Relief that I'm not fighting for scraps of someone's attention anymore. Relief that I chose myself when no one else would. Because here's the truth. I don't regret loving Marcus. I regret not loving myself enough to leave sooner. Some lessons cost us everything, but the ones that break us are often the ones that remake us into someone stronger, wiser, and finally free. If you've ever loved someone who couldn't let go of the past, or stayed in something because you hoped it would change, or pretended not to notice the truth staring you in the face, I see you. And I need you to know, walking away isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. And that's the bravest thing you'll ever do. I'd love to know where you're watching this from, and if this story hit you the way it hit me telling it. What's one lesson about love or self-worth that changed your life? Drop it in the comments. And if this story made you feel something, anything, hit that like button and subscribe. We're building something real here, a space for the stories we only tell strangers, the ones that hurt a little, but heal a lot. Thank you for listening to mine.